Hey everyone, Eric with morningtechmeeting.com. And I just want to thank all of you for sitting in on the presentation I was giving and receiving this quick performance review sheet that we're giving. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share the screen and kind of walk you through how I did it so that there's no misunderstanding. So if you bear with me just for 1 second, there we go. So you can see here, this is the performance review sheet. It's one page back and forward. And up here, you're going to put the name of the person. Let's say you're reviewing Tina Smith. So you write Tina Smith and then whatever her position is, and then the date, of course, and then who the department and who her immediate supervisor is. And if it's a smaller company, you might, have your name here. And then also you're the department head. So you put your name here as well. And then, it says review period, probationary or annual. If they are, in their first 30, 60, 90 days, you may want to put probationary, or if it's just your monthly review, just put your annual normal. So what you really want to do here is you want to go through each one and then write what their score is. Me personally, I was pretty stingy with the exceeds expectations because I wanted them to have somewhere to work towards. Now, obviously, there are people who are just killing it, and you can't take away their exceeds expectations if they truly deserve it. But I would tell them, look, these are special scores, so don't just expect one for showing up, kind of thing. So, and like if job knowledge didn't apply, which that's never true, but you just put NA or a check mark here, right? So, job knowledge would go through, what they need to know. And you got to remember with job knowledge, especially for a newer person, the job knowledge has to be, you're not comparing them to a technician or somebody who's been in a job for years and years. You're doing job knowledge based on where, the expectation is that for them to be at the period that they're at. So if you have somebody who is a water damage restoration technician or a carpet cleaner, and they're at their 4, 5, 6 month mark, you need to be scoring them on what is expected for a 6 month, of experience in either one of those positions, not comparing them to your best guy who's been with you for 7 years. It's not a fair comparison, right? And then productivity, really just how much work they're getting done. That's a huge thing. And then these comments, usually what I would do is I'd put bullet points like job knowledge. Let me go to productivity. So productivity, like maybe I wanted somebody to do add-on sales, a carpet cleaner. So maybe I'd say, does not meet expectations. And over here, the bullet points, want to see X amount of dollars in add-on sales per job average. Let's get you some help. Let's get you some training, whatever those little bullet points may be. Okay. Quality of their work. A lot of that has to do with callbacks or unhappy customers. And for me, I'm just putting a check mark on these, whichever one it is. Responsibility and initiative, relationships. This is a big one. I wanted people as we grew to become resourceful and adaptable to the situations because, if you have a carpet cleaner out in the field, let's say, truck breaks down, can that person figure out what's going on without calling the office or calling a manager, or, or they're on a job and they need to figure it out on their own. A lot of the things that cause people to get upset with employees as managers or owners is what they view as a lack of resourcefulness. So this is something that I took this one very seriously, and you usually see a lot of bullet points, remember the time you did this, or, hey, you did great here. We need you to continue doing that, right? Attendance and punctuality, you want to be in the office, saying there were, a certain amount of occurrences in, other absences or lateness, because for a lot of us, that was an issue. For us, that was a very important one to me. I didn't want people being late, and I wanted them to be at work, and then supervisory skills. And for a lot of people, that doesn't apply. So you just, do this. And then what I would do is how I did this, because I wanted it to be quick and easy. I would just add them up, and whichever column had the most, I would hit that one, like, meets expectations. So if you had, 5 meets expectations and 1 exceeds and one of the doesn't meet expectations, you're just going to check them here. You don't necessarily have to score it. Right. And then here is where I'm usually either writing a paragraph or putting some bullet points. And for me, a lot of this had to do with like, these are the things you're doing great. And these are the things that we need to work on. And then down here in the upcoming review period, I would give them a roadmap, to like for add-on sales, I would say, 2 times a week, role playing with, the sales manager, or, want you to read this book and discuss with the management team, or, I would give them a homework assignment, because look, let's say if add-on sales was a big part of their job and they weren't meeting, their expectations, and then I would have a conversation with them. And look, once you've done, it takes a little longer the first month or two because you probably haven't reviewed them in a long time. So you have all these pent up things that you're like, I don't like this. I don't like that. I don't like this. But you have to remember to be kind, because you don't want to hit them with everything you've got, especially those first reviews or 2. Just pick a couple things that you want to be working on. These are supposed to be constructive criticism. It's not a time to go nuclear on anybody. Okay. It's like, hey, Timmy, you're doing great, but here's a few things that we need to improve on. And here's what I would like you to do. These are the homework assignments, and in 30 days, let's see how we're doing. Right. And then I'm going to sign and date that. And then if there's a manager, they would give some feedback. And then this is what I always did. I came to that tailgate meeting with 2 copies, one in an envelope, a photocopy that I would give to them to take home, and then one that they sign and I'm going to bring back. And obviously that's going to be in an envelope too, because I don't want anybody to see it. It's personal between management, ownership, and that employee. Now I would say to that person, take that copy that I gave you and write your thoughts on this. Bring it back within the next few days so that we can have a discussion about this. The reality is very few people, if any, ever bring it back, but it's giving them the opportunity to have some say, and that's important to them. Okay. And then you get them to date and sign it. So look, these things don't take a long time. They take a lot less length than this video, to be honest. But the reality is they're super powerful. I like to do mine generally once we kind of got going on the tailgate of my truck. I would go check on a job. There'd be 2 or 3 guys in. I tried to do all of my quick reviews the last week of every month. So I would go in and pull one guy out and say, hey, come on out to the truck. We do a quick review, send him back in, bring the next guy out. And I just go boom, 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 boom. And I did it with love. I did it with, hey, let's get better. We're all trying to get better. Now, if you have a person that's got a lot of problems, a quick review might not be the tool or the time. That might be at your office with a much more in-depth meeting. But just for that, keeping people on track, keeping them in a good place and doing the things that you want them to do, this is a huge tool. And look, after a few months, this is the key point. After a few months, they're going to start to be doing all the things that you want them to do, generally speaking. So what happens? Every 30 days, you're giving them a pat on the back and say, keeping up the good work. But now that you're here, we can get just that much better, right? And you go to the next step. So game-changing tool for me. At first, the people were afraid of these. And then once we got going and they saw that every single one wasn't a big deal, it kept them on track. And a key point, if you've had somebody that for several months, every 30-day review has been good, and then all of a sudden they're starting to go down, that's your opportunity to try to find out what's going on in their personal life. Because 9 times out of 10, in my experience, if somebody who is good is starting to fade, it's usually a problem at home. And obviously you can't dig in too deep, but it might be an opportunity to add some value to them and just to let them know, okay, cool. We know what's going on. And maybe giving them some extra hours or doing something along those lines to to get their life straightened out. Because, if people aren't good at home, they're not going to be good at work. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoy. If you need anything, just reach out to me, Eric@morningtechmeeting.com. And I hope you enjoy this quick review sheet. Thanks a lot.